Hello there, metalheads. You're listening to Metal Verbalizer podcast. My name is Erik, and today I'm not by myself. We have Johan here today.
Yes.
And today we thought a little bit about this, and we have gotten a few suggestions about bands, and we have found some of them ourselves that are like founded this year or last year or something, and some of them are founded earlier as well, but they have like one single, two singles, or maybe one single album. So there isn't really that much to talk about those bands. So to make a full episode about them, so we've decided to take a few of them today, and we're gonna talk about more than one band today. So that's kind of the idea.
Yes, absolutely. And something that would be kind of worth to mention here is that these bands that we're talking about here, we might do an episode about them later when they have released a little bit more stuff, and when we feel that there's a little bit more to kind of talk about in order to fill a whole episode about it.
Yeah, because I do, for myself at least, I like to not only just talk about the music itself, I like to dive in a little bit about the history of the band as well. And if they are founded like last year or this year, there aren't really that much history either to talk about. So
No.
yeah. And I know that one or two of these bands, I know that when there is more stuff to talk about, I will make an episode for sure.
Yeah.
Because we got some really good stuff going on here.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of whole point as well about these sort of episodes, because we do these episodes anyway, and we want to talk about these bands anyway, because we feel that we really believe in these bands, even though they have very few releases as of now.
Yeah.
But those releases that they do have is so good in our ears that we feel that they really, really is worth to talk about, you know.
Yeah, and like these bands, I get genuinely excited when I listen to their music.
Absolutely.
Should we dive in to the first band?
Yeah, sure.
So the first band we're going to talk about is called Foxy Ladies, which is a band that is from France. And did you find anything about their year that they were formed?
Yeah, I think they were formed in like 2012, so it's relatively pretty late. But as far as I know, and as far as I found information, they only have one record from 2017.
Yeah, I found out a little bit more. I actually found out that they had an EP released back in 2015 as well. I tried to check a little bit on their webpage, but everything was in French, and I'm not that good at French. Not really the language I speak the most fluent, and I don't read it at all. But it looks like we are gonna get a album from them sometime this year, actually.
Yeah, well, based on the record that they did release from 2017 and the EP, personally I think that's really great, and I definitely look forward to the next album.
I mean, the song, for example, to give everybody an example of a song, it's Under Control, which is a song that is really good from them. And that song actually kind of, in a way, from the vocalist, made me think about the song Just a Girl by No Doubt.
Yeah, maybe actually. I could definitely see some sense in that. I think that would probably... I usually kind of try to not have like favorites and all that, but I think that might be at least one of my favorites from that record.
Yeah.
It definitely is one of those kind of like songs that really sticks with you.
Yeah,
you know?
It's one of those songs that really sticks in your head and stays there for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, is a sign that it's a really good song, so...
And I mean, No Doubt, they had, well, Just a Girl is pretty much the only song I know from them. but Gwen Stefani is also an amazing vocalist. So being somewhat similar vocally to her is not a bad thing. Absolutely not.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
But yeah. Do you have anything more to say about this band for now, or should we crack on?
I don't know. Like something that I could add, I suppose, is that some people might kind of see that having a record from 2017, which is quite a few years now, it's like 5 years, might sound like a long time. Which I mean, considering based from certain bands, I guess it is. But I don't think it's necessarily a negative thing either.
Well, it can be quite expensive to make music as well. If you
Yeah,
need...
both that, but I also think that like it's better to kind of spend a few years to really be able to make something great instead of like kind of forcing out music because you're supposed to.
I rather have a
like,
band that works 3 years on an album rather than
Yeah,
a band
exactly.
that just spits out albums every year.
Yeah, because that's kind of thing. Because a lot of more famous bands feels like they have kind of done that they kind of want to force out records like every second year or so, and that they are not really as good as the earlier stuff, etc.
Well, I think you really need the time to work on the albums as well. Because,
yeah, absolutely. I think so too.
And another thing with it is that you're gonna, at some point, you're gonna almost run out of ideas. Do you really have ideas enough to have a career like some of the bands that started back in the 70s and are still going? I mean, look at a band for like AC/DC. They have like 12 or 13 albums. They've been going on since 1973.
Yeah, or like Motorhead, isn't that kind of like one of these famous examples of a band that have like a lot of albums? I don't even remember how many like records Motorhead even has.
Yeah, but Motorhead in all glory. But how many of them do you actually remember? And how many of them are actually good?
Yeah, I mean, Motorhead is Motorhead, but...
Yeah, as I said, Motorhead in all glory. I love Motorhead. Yeah. but yeah, should we crack on?
Yeah, sure. But just as a finishing comment, I guess I think you should absolutely check out the Foxy Ladies.
For sure.
If you're into the more like classic rock style thing, I think you'll definitely like the Foxy Ladies.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, the next band that we're going to talk about is Hellfinder. And
yes,
I thought it would be good that you were talking about it a little bit because it's more like your genre.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, with the podcast, you're taking the more like classic stuff, and I usually take more heavier, extreme type stuff, which definitely is what Hellfinder is.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, like Hellfinder, there is a kind of black and thrash type thing. And they were formed in San Diego, California, in USA, obviously. I believe that they were founded in like 2019. I'm not like 100% sure about that, but based on the information I did get about Hellfinder, they said 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe them.
Yeah.
And something that's kind of cool about Hellfinder as well is that there are two members that are going by the kind of pseudonyms. One is going by the name Feral, and the other is going by the name Void. And Feral is doing all the vocals and writing all the lyrics. And Void is doing all the instrumental parts of their music, as well as doing recordings and stuff like that.
I think that's kind of a cool idea, and
absolutely.
It's a cool idea of a teamwork like that. It's pretty much like this podcast.
It's not completely different from this podcast, no.
Yeah, because you're like, well, we are collaborating in the recording of the podcast since we both do recording. But then I'm kind of responsible for the editing part of it all,
Yeah, usually, yeah.
to like do the final producing of the actual episode.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of like that as well because it's I mean there's a lot of benefits with that.
And yeah, you are usually the one that have the most control over the social media as well.
Yeah, stuff like that, yeah.
So
Uh,
yeah.
and another thing about Hellfinder is that they do not have a lot of things released as of now. They have like one demo and a single,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like it. But when I heard that like first demo with the songs like Endless Fire, like just that like intro riff was enough to like completely make me sold on them, you know.
Yeah, I mean
So
that's the thing that we're talked about. Really working on your stuff, and
yeah, absolutely.
I just love. If I'm gonna think that an episode is or a song is good, I want to feel something when I hear the first note.
Yeah,
And when
absolutely.
I find those songs, and we have those songs with the bands that we are talking about. Foxy Ladies have the song like Under Control. You heard straight away this is gonna be good.
Yeah,
And it's for you, as of you, like you say, the same with the Hellfinder for you. And the next band is gonna be a few songs like that as well. I mean, you really want to feel that like feeling in your chest. That is really good.
absolutely. And I think it's even more so for the more like underground, more unknown type of bands because
Mm-hmm.
there's so much music, so many different bands out there. So uh, if like those first notes are very important, I believe,
Yeah,
to
because
really
that
like
is what's gonna make the listeners stay and listen.
yeah,
Because
to really like keep the listener, so to speak.
since the market for, well, even these genres of music, these more extreme genres, since the market is so over exaggerated, if those like few first notes doesn't stick with the listener, it's gonna be very hard to start a career.
I
So
think so.
so if these guys are actually doing this and are doing it good.
Yeah, absolutely, I think so. But something else that's kind of going into the same kind of um, how do you say like the same kind of idea is about being unique in a way
Mm-hmm.
and not sounding like exactly like another band because
Yeah.
that's kind of the same thing there. It's like if you sound pretty much exactly like Exodus, to give you an example,
Yeah.
uh, what would what would make the listeners stay here and not just listen to Exodus
Mm-hmm.
in that case, for example?
Yeah, and
So
another example for giving something unique into the sound. We can talk about Simulacrum that we had an episode about later.
yeah,
One of their songs from nowhere, they had like a saxophone in one of their songs, and they actually made it work, which is amazing.
yeah, that's kind of funny. I think Take, the Norwegian black metal band,
Yeah,
had that as well. What is the song called? I kind of this name escaped me now.
yeah,
But they had that kind of thing. Like it was completely out of nowhere. You didn't expect it
uh-huh.
at all. So I really like those kind of things.
Yeah, for sure.
But what do you say? Do we have anything more to say about Hellfinder, or would you like to talk
No,
about the
I
next?
don't know. It's not really my genre, so I don't really think that I would do it justice to talk
No,
about
maybe
these
not.
guys.
But well, again, kind of like the same as the Foxy Ladies.
Yeah.
If you like this kind of music, this kind of genre, the more like black and thrash type thing. If you're into black metal and kind of like a more thrash metal approach to it, I think you'll definitely like Hellfinder. So you should absolutely look it up.
Yeah. And are we gonna like try to tag him on our Instagram posts for this episodes and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're gonna try to tag all of these bands that we're talking about so that you can find their Instagrams and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, we have another band to talk about, Bomber, and this this one you have to check out if you like that classic 80s heavy metal, because this is some high quality rock and roll. To describe, if I would describe the sound, it's a little bit like if the singer from the band Europe sang for Airborne. A little bit like that, and it really works. It's really one of those like where you just turn up the volume, and then after a while, I want to turn it up a little bit more, a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's at least for me.
Yeah,
And
it's like you're saying, it's like classic, pretty straight to the point.
yeah, for sure.
I'm not sure if they're very like influenced by them directly, but to me, when I listened to Bomber and kind of discovered them, I immediately started thinking about bands like Enforcer,
Okay.
and since both Enforcer and Bomber is Swedish bands, it kind of feels like Bomber is kind of building upon that kind of Enforcer have
Maybe it
done
is.
with the kind of like new wave of traditional heavy metal and kind of bringing back that 80s style and vibe to things.
Yeah, I just love that style of heavy metal is on its way back, because
Yeah, absolutely.
it is the genre that I prefer, even though I'm not that old. I kind of like that. I don't really know. I don't really like the term dad rock. It's heavy metal. It's classic heavy metal, and this you call new age of classic heavy metal. I just love that it's on its way back, and these bands like Enforcer as well, but Bomber does such a good job with it.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
amazing. And these guys were like formed already in 2016, so it's already, once again, is one of those bands that they have a few years, but they haven't really that many releases. 2017 they released an EP that you can find one single song from in a video on their YouTube channel, and that's the only clip that are on their YouTube channel for now. But then now in 2022 we got a new album released with that they released with Napalm Record.
Yeah,
and that is like that album you can find on Spotify and all that kind of stuff.
yes, and I guess it could kind of be worth to mention that as well. When you're mentioning Napalm Records, there's like a major label.
Yeah.
That it's like for us who are kind of talking about underground, unknown bands. Like if a band is on a such a big, popular record label as Napalm Records, it kind of feels like maybe it wouldn't be in kind of our atmosphere of bands, but we definitely consider Bomber to kind of go into that.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, because we kind of felt that Bomber felt as like unknown and kind of underrated, so we definitely felt like it would be worth to talk about them anyway.
Yeah, because you gotta like remember this, that it is not the label that makes the band. It is the band. And just because you're signed by a big label, that's just because the label signs you just because they see potential in you.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't mean that just because it is a famous label that you already are world famous, like Sabaton or any of the other bands that have been signed by Napalm.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't really look. A lot of these, or maybe even most of the bands that we are talking about, are like signed by a label, because you need somebody to found your like and finance your album making and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of them is independent and not signed, but at least not yet. And a lot of them are kind of signed on the lesser known labels.
Yeah, but once again, it isn't really the label that makes the band.
No, exactly. That's kind of my point.
So I think that's really important to remember. But yeah, for sure about Bomber, a lot of their songs from their album that they have released has gone straight in my favorite playlist that I have when we are out in the car and all that kind of stuff. So I will for sure continue to listen to Bomber and Foxy Ladies, actually. So yeah, do you have anything more to add?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think we kind of summarized it pretty well.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're into the more like classic, straight to the point, heavy metal type thing, you should definitely check out Bomber.
Yeah. I like him, and I really think that you guys will do as well. So give him a listen, and why not turn into our social media and let's talk about them
Absolutely.
and the rest of these bands as well.
So, should we talk about the next band?
Sure.
And the next band is Tempa Shot, which I hope I pronounced correctly. But
yeah.
what did you say?
I was just going to say when I started listening to these guys, I were kind of confused at first because it was almost when one of the songs started, I almost expected like growl,
Yeah.
but it was like more punky, more
Yeah,
like
exactly.
punk
Like
vocals.
that's kind of the whole thing. Like Tempa Shot being a thrash metal band. And I mean, thrash metal is that kind of genre that it can be very, very heavy and very, very fast, but it can still kind of have a more, clean edge on the vocals, etc.
Yeah, and not only clean. I think these guys were more like punk.
Yeah, I mean, there's the kind of like crossover thing
Yeah,
in thrash metal as well.
and it kind of works, to be honest.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like the kind of bands that have kind of made that into a thing and kind of made that famous. I think if we're talking about more crossover punk type thing, it's definitely bands that comes to mind is like DRI, Suicidal Tendencies,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe Tempa Shot being more into the like new wave kind of thing. Definitely Municipal Waste and Toxic Holocaust and bands like that.
Okay.
But yeah, Tempa Shot, I believe was formed in 2020.
Okay.
And I also read that Tempa Shot is supposedly, allegedly, like started out as a side project by members from another band called State of Anxiety, which we're not going to talk so much more about now, since maybe we'll talk about them individually later.
Okay, so that's
Uh,
gonna be an episode coming up.
yeah, perhaps. No promises, but maybe.
Have you heard anything about album releases when it comes to Tempa Shot? Because I could only find like 2 singles from them released.
Yeah,
One
I
in
think that
2020 and one in 2021.
yeah, okay. I think that they have like 4 singles.
Okay, I could
Not
only
entirely
find
sure,
2.
but I believe that the singles are like Certified Dangerous, First Strike, Sicker Than Your Average, and Gunning for Gatekeepers.
Okay.
So yeah, they don't have any like EP or full length, at least not yet. But I mean, they're relatively very new band, so I mean, being formed in 2020, they haven't had that much time to really release anything. So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get something in the near future.
But yeah, these latest years, like 2020 and 21, during the pandemic, it has been like a perfect time to work on new music because I know that a lot of bands has taken the time, and I guess since you have that time for Tempa Shot is the best time ever to like create a new band. So because you really have that time, you don't need to be stressed to get out on the road. You really have that time to work on the music.
Yeah, but also kind of like a blessing and a curse, I believe, because a lot of it's like more unknown type bands are kind of surviving on touring.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so it's like I can see your point. I understand what you're going for, but it's also like touring is very, very important especially for newer bands.
Yeah, but yeah, you have to have enough music to be able to go out and tour. So
Yeah, obviously.
taking these like 2 years or whatever, or well during 2020 at least,
Yeah.
I think it has been healthy for a lot of bands to really taking the time, because just as you say, a lot of these smaller bands survive on touring. But now
Yeah.
during these years, since there hasn't been able to be any live shows, they have been like forced to make more music and take time for that. And I think it's kind of good.
Yeah, again, it's kind of like I said, it's both like a blessing and a curse. There's like
Yeah.
pros and cons with that, I think.
Do you have anything else to add about Tempa Shot, or should we
Uh,
maybe start wrapping up?
yeah, no, I don't think I have so much to add as of now, actually.
Yeah. Then I think it might be time to wrap up.
Yeah, maybe.
Because so yeah, really take the time if you are interested in one of these bands, or maybe all of them. I really suggest that you check them out. We will in our Instagram posts have try to create links for all of them, and we will
Yes.
at least tag them so you can access their social media. So please check them out. Uh, these guys do a great job, and some of them, like Bomber and Foxy Ladies, I will definitely do an episode in the future. So yeah, check these bands out, follow their social media, and don't forget to follow us on our social medias, because if you contact us, if you have a band that you want us to talk about, please hit us up, because we take suggestions all the time. We always need new bands to talk about. So we really appreciate when you guys send us suggestions. So yeah, follow our social medias, and then we should wrap up, right?
Yes.
So have a good one. Bye for now.
Bye.